May as well get started. Today I want to cover a couple of things. Last time we talked about the different objects you can build. You can build a sphere or a plane and so forth. And I've also made a list of all those objects in a couple of files that you can get at the site that just simply tell you how to make a sphere, how to make a plane, how to make a whatever you want to make. That you can make, and so it gives you the code for it, so that therefore you can look it up. It's not hard to do, and they're all in one place that way. There's demonstrations of every program we do online too, so you can sort of see how everything works. What I want to do is today is I want to go a step further and talk about how you orient these things. You make an object like a cylinder or something, and it's at the 0, 0, 0 position, but then you want to move it places, you want to do stuff with it, rotate it and everything. So I have to give you the instructions for how to do that, how to move everything around, because your objects have to move. The first thing you have to remember is that an object like a sphere or a plane or whatever it is just like us, just like a person. It has a front and a left and a right, and up and a down, and a back and in front and so forth. The thing is, if you take the real world, like the room right here, for example, and if you call that the y-axis, and that's the x-axis, and the z-axis goes out this way, that's locked. That's locked in position. But your axes are not locked in position, because your front is looking this way now, but if you turn that way, your front is now looking this way. So you have to, this is the same thing in these graphics programs. The camera has that XYZ, it's locked in position. So the camera is always looking from its locked position. But the objects in the scene are moving around. Now you might wonder, well, what effect does that have? If you have an object, like for example, I can move to the, well, I gotta do it your way. I can move to the left, to the right, and I can rotate this way or rotate that way. And I can rotate this way over the x-axis, okay? But here's what happens. Supposing I take a person and I say, okay, rotate a little bit to the right. So you move 5 to the right, for example. So you move right far to the right, and then turn 90 degrees. So you turn that way. And now when I say rotate over the x-axis, they're going to rotate this way. Not over the x-axis of the universe. They're not going to rotate that way. They're going to rotate over their own x-axis. And that's what you have to kind of keep it in mind all the time, that the objects themselves have their own x, y, z. And if they rotate in some direction in the y, then their x's are now this way. And to rotate over z, they rotate this way. Originally, it was this way, but now because their z-axis is over here, they rotate this way. So that's the reason why we have two different kind of controls. We have the camera control about what it does, and then we have each individual object has its own universe it has to deal in. Now, that can get complicated because you have things moving around all the time, but there are simplifications, and I'll get to those in the next couple of classes. But basically, just remember, there are two XYZ operations going on here. One is the universe, and the other one is the objects. And keep that in mind. That's a distinction. So today what I want to do is I want to put a bunch of objects on the screen, and I'm going to move them around in different positions. The easiest thing to do to demonstrate how it all works is I'm going to create some planes, like 4 or 5 or 6 sides to a cube. I'll put 6 different images, planes, right in the origin, right in 0, 0, 0. They're all right there. And then what I'll do is one at a time I'll move one of them, then another one, and then another one, then another one, so that we'll make a box out of it. And by making a box, you'll see how you move these things around. You'll see what you have to do, okay? So I'm going to start off by saying, okay, first of all, let's begin with an easy program. Let me create a rectangle. I'm going to create these things as squares. And the reason why they're going to be squares is because it simplifies making sure they all fit together. If they're rectangles, it isn't quite as easy, because then what happens is the top rectangle comes down to make a roof, and it's too short in the y direction to go to the X direction of the other guys. So in other words, you'll see how that works. But I'm going to show you, and I have a program that demonstrates that too. But basically, if I make them all square, I can make a cube out of it. And I'm going to do that, make a cube. And by making a cube, remember that all of the planes that are the sides of this cube all start in the same position. They're all right there, right on top of the other. You can only see one of them, but they're all there, okay? And that's the first step. So let's write the program that puts the first plane up. And I put words on these planes. By the way, what I did is I went to the paint program, and I made 6 different sides. Did I make 5 or 6? 6. I'm missing one here, but I got them all. Basically, there's 6 different sides, and what the 6 sides are is the floor, the top, the roof, the left side, the right side, the back, and the front. So all those sides are on. Then you get a sort of a cube. And what I did is I left a hole in one side so we can look in and see what's going on in there. Oh, we can go into it, okay? And I put words on them so you'll know which is which. So we'll be able to keep track of everything. These could be pictures or videos or anything. But this time they just have words, just so you can see what's what when you move them around. So let's start off. I'll get the program going here. HTML. If I make any typos, let me know. I'm always worried about that. So far, so good. Okay, I'm going to make a variable for degrees. And what that is, that's the one the camera knows. The camera, the degrees is how much we turn around to look at the thing. This is what angle we're looking at it at, okay? Now that's for the camera. And also, the camera's a certain distance from the center of the world. And that's called the camera radius, and we can change that too. So we can change either one of these things. So to get variable, okay, that equals, I'm setting it at 600 because of the size I made everything. So essentially what I'm saying is, the center of the world's here. On the z-axis, we're going to be 600 units back because we want to see everything up in front of us. If I was too close, we'd be all around us. We wouldn't see it very well. Okay. Next thing is I want to have my keystrokes. I want to have the left keystroke rotate the camera this way, and I want the right keystroke to rotate it that way, and I want to take the upper keystroke to go inward towards the center, and the down keystroke, the down arrow, I'm saying arrow, keystroke arrow to go this way. So the 4 arrows, we're going to set up the 4 arrows now. Do we need need a doctor pretty soon here. Don't laugh, it'll make it worse.
I saw it.
Actually, the key hit. So this is where, this is built, don't forget, this is built into Graphics XX, this will come up automatically. Now what we're going to do is we're going to test the 4 keys to see which arrow we hit. And whatever one we hit, we tell it to change degrees, which is this, or to change camera radius, which is that. So we have 4 different tests. The first one says, well, if the keystroke equals, do not forget the double equal. That's essential. If you make one equal, it's not going to show you. It's not going to show you a mistake. It's just not going to do anything. That will drive you nuts after a while. Believe me, I've seen that 1,000 times. I've even done it myself. And you can use degrees here. I'm changing by degree simply because the programs are going to, the function that calls these things knows to convert degrees into radians. It does that for you. This is the only time that happens automatically because this function does it. Otherwise, you have to deal with radians. But you don't, when you're talking about the camera, it's all taken care of for you. Well, let me do what I did last time. I'll copy these and change all the parameters. That'll be fun. See if I can do it without making a mistake. Okay. Now let's see if I can change them right. So it's 37, 39, 40. 39, 40. Speeds it up a little bit. So it's 38. That should be it. Those are the 4 directions of the arrows right there. Degrees is going to be minus. This is going to be plus right here. And this is not the word degrees. This way we're changing the radius here. So we change the camera radius. And remember last class I spelled degrees without an S, and that screwed it up. So you always got to be careful of these little things. Radius, okay. Rah-rah. How's that look? Better?
You messed up with the...
With something. Stroke equals...
Camera radius.
Where did I screw up?
Camera, no, you do need the RA.
Oh, I did the same thing over here. Okay. Stupid. Too many rahs in there. Rah. Now, 38.
You have camera
Got a thing
radius.
right here.
I think you need camera RADIUS.
How's it look now?
CAMERA
That's gone now, yeah. Oh, up above? Oh, I did it up there too. Good for you. I've done it in every place. How interesting. All stupid.
Actually, no, you need camera.
At this point, I've got so much down, I should save it just to make sure I'm not going to lose the thing. So I'll do a save. I want to save it on the desktop because that's where all the pictures are. They're going to be. They're all on the desktop. So I'll say save.
I don't know that I'm right, but your word says cam radius,
Desktop.
not camera radius.
Hang on. Desktop. I'll call it color cube. .html. And I got to change this thing down here, and I got to save it on the desktop. I haven't done that yet. Get that. Save it on the desktop. Bing. Save. There it is right there. At least we know it's in the right place. So at this point, did you see anything? Did you say you saw something, or do you?
Your word says cam radius, not camera radius. And
Oh, it should be camera radius, shouldn't it? There should be an RA in there.
yeah, in every case.
That's right. Why did I get rid of it? Because I thought I was duplicating something. Okay. Is that better? So actually, the original one was wrong at the bottom.
I think that's
Does that look good? Bad variable name. There's a lesson in that. Don't pick variable names that are weird because it just invites trouble. Okay, next thing. Now that I get the keystrokes ready, now I got to do is make the rendering routine that renders everything. This is going to draw the objects. So it's a function. And it's render. And it doesn't have any parameter. I always tab over here for this one. That's for your consumption, really. I could do it against the left wall, but if I put it over here, it's sort of see things gathered. You can sort of see them a little better. They're a little more to the center over here. That makes it a little bit better. I think it does. But anyway, so the first thing you got to do is you've got to tell the renderer function to keep giving you new frames all the time. Okay. So the first step is to say you got to request. And see where the caps are. There should be A animation and F for frame. Those are capitalized. And then you put the render function into it. It simply says come back to this render function every time that you want to get a new frame. Okay. Next thing is I called my first object back. That's the name I gave it, back. Okay, so it's going to be the back question.
Should one of the camera radius lines say plus equals 1?
Plus, good for you. Excellent. There should be a plus right here. Right here. Excellent. Makes sense? Got to go in and out, otherwise you'd be going in all the time. Good for you. That was a good shot. Okay, so now, next question. Let me just put the instruction in here that's going to draw it. Locate it, I mean. Plane dot position dot x equals 0. Everything starts in the origin, so that's what it's going to be to start with, back plane position. So I'm just going to copy this and change all the x's to y and z the first time. It should be y. Z. That look okay? Up to here, does that look okay for everybody? Whoops, not like that. That don't look okay. Z right here. Come on. Get with it. Now it should be okay. Okay, X, Y, Z is that. And now I want to put this back in again here. I want to change this to rotation. Does this all make sense to you guys? I'm not doing anything unusual here. I'm just putting stuff in. Okay, so I'm going to copy this guy and put copy. Whoops, did I do it twice? Well, I'll fix it. No big deal. So this is Y right here.
That would be Z, the next one, right?
What? Do you see something?
No, it would just be
Okay.
Z.
Okay, so what do we got? So far, I've got the rotations X, Y, Z, and the positions X, Y, Z, and that's it. So those are all the control things for the object called back. Okay. So now I have to add in the camera controls. Right here. And look at the, yeah, I'm not, okay. I'm sorry, I've got a big long program here I have to take pieces out of. Okay. This is not fail-safe. This is definitely not a good, I gotta get a better system for that, for the pages. Okay, I want to do the renderer. Dot set clear color.
Class clear color.
This is the one you, whoops, set, yeah. Now, by the way, the reason why I've screwed up there is because I was thinking about your homework assignment. This is what you use, right? You got to use this one. And you got to use this exact routine inside, comma, 1, 2, 3, whoops, not like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma, 1. You can use any number, and you can, for example, 1 could be 0.5 or whatever you, if you want to make the background slightly less opaque, if you want to be able to see through it a little bit, you can change that 1, anything between 0 and 1. But 1 is the normal, it's just the background color, whatever it is. This color, these colors in here, this right here, is going to be black because none of the colors are turned on. If I put any hexadecimal HTML kind of color in there, the background will be that color, whatever it is. Don't deal with that 0. That has something to do with the fact that this is a hex number. That's something you don't want to touch, that 0. Always put that there, but don't do anything with it. Okay, so what that has done is that gets the background color going. And now I want to get the camera position X. And it has to use that function I told you about. It's called X bounce. And you have to send it two things, the radius and the degrees. And that should do it for the position X. Now I've got to get the position camera. Z. is in the Z direction. This time you use Y bounce. It sounds weird, but use Y bounce to do the Z one. Again, same information. Degrees. Okay, and now I want to just position the camera so that it's looking at the center of the world. Hang on a second. Where am I? Oh. This one has to say, look at the position of the scene. At this point, with these dots, you should begin to see what these dots do. If you were putting your name using this dot notation, what it would say is your last name dot your first name. In other words, what happens is the first thing is the overall category. It's a big object, and that object has little characteristics. And one of the characteristics in your case is your first name. You know, you have your family name, then you have your first name. So you could have, for example, you might have your what country you live in, dot what state you live in, dot what city you live in, dot what street you live on. So it's subdividing the thing, and that kind of hierarchical structure is classic to all new computer languages, and we're just starting to use it now in graphics, but it obviously makes sense. You can see that the name of the plane is the back, okay, and it's got a characteristic called plane, and that plane has a position, and that position is either in an X, Y, or Z. So you see it breaks down, everything breaks down, and that's how it kind of works. Back is called an object, and these other things are characteristics of that object, okay? Okay, and so that takes care of the camera. The camera is all operational now. And now what I have to do is just simply render the thing. So I say renderer dot set size. Remember what this one does? Frame width and frame height are the size of your whole window. That's the whole screen. We can subvert that by changing the size, and I think I'd like to do that right now.
If you change the size, do you have to change the X and Y positions?
No, it takes care of everything. It takes care of everything. It's all those positions, everything are within the windows, within the window. Now here's what does happen though. If you, for example, in body, if you don't tell the body that you want the thing to be, no, see how do I put that? If you were to take, okay, let's do it this way. You show your universal size, and then you shrink the screen by manual by using that little rectangle square up there. What will happen is it'll shrink the screen, but the stuff will be off the edge. In other words, it'll zoom in, but the image itself won't change sizes because the image itself thinks you want to go the entire frame width. So in other words, it remembers that you're going the whole screen. Even if you reduce the size of the window, it's still, you only see part of it then. Okay, and that's a little bit of a trick that you got to be careful of. And that's why you have, if you want to make it smaller, you change frame width. I'm going to do it right now because just for our purposes, I'm going to break this in half. I'm going to break this in half, which is going to make it half the size quarter of the size of the whole window, but half the size in both directions. And let's see. And in the body, that's the end of that, by the way. I got one more thing. I just want to render the thing. I'll explain what I did that for in a second. I'll do the rest of it. render, and I want to show the scene and the camera. That's what I want to see what's going on here, and that's it. That's the end of this function. So in other words, that big rigmarole was we get frames, show us where the object is, turn on the camera and position it, and then render the thing. And then it goes back and does the same thing over and over again. Okay, in this case, I made the thing. Now, I'm going down here, I'm going to finish off this upper thing, /script. /head. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going down here to the body. Does that make sense to you guys? Why I would do that? So I changed the frame width to a 1/2 and a 1/2, so it's going to be up in the left-hand corner there. So basically I want to pull the whole image out in the middle because I want it to be on your screen here instead of on my screen way off to the left. So I'm going to try to get it into where we want it here. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure if I'll do it the way I want it to, but I'm going to see what happens anyway. And so that takes care of that part. Now let's get down to you have to create the graphics. You have to bring in the graphics controls, which is the whole program really. Script source HTTP /
DART works.
What? Oh yeah, okay. Dirt works. Bad news. The one I really hate is when I write DRAT. That's a bad one. And it's called that takes care of that. See if I did it right. So that brings in the graphics controls. You always got to have that under the body, okay? And finally, you bring in your first object. And the first object, we called it back, but actually it's a plane, and it's 400 by 400. I set it at that size, 400 by 400. So I say I got to use the same names as I use here, so I don't make any mistakes. Script variable. Let's call it back. Equals new. Make. Whoops. That's the function that makes the plane for you. Then you have to put in the dimensions: 400 wide, 400 tall, and the name of the picture that's going to be on it. In this case, the first picture is called Redback. REDBACK.jpg. And also, I should say to you that you can use single or double quotes. They both work. Use the same one on both sides, but use single or double quotes, okay? Semicolon /script. That should be it. Now I can just finish the program. /body. /HTML.
You misspelled frame height.
What?
Frame height.
The frame.
T at the end.
T. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. What do you think? So that's the whole program. This thing down here creates the plane that we're orienting up here. So let's see what it looks like when we run it. Okay. This is a color cube. Drag it to, you don't see that, but I'm making it run right now. There it That's, see, it's not the whole screen, it's just a little piece of the screen. And back is the image. And my controls, I have controls over. You see I can use the arrows to turn the thing, or I can go towards it by hitting the upper arrow. I'm heading towards it very slowly. Or I can back it away by hitting the down arrow and move it back from it. And that's it. So we just created simply a rectangle. And I put the word back on it because if I did this wrong, if I make any mistakes, the text will be reversed and you'll immediately see we didn't do it right. Because when we stop putting stuff out on the sides up here, which way do we turn them to get them to be so we see the right side too? If we rotate them the wrong way, we're going to get the wrong side. So that's what I want to do, is I want to just experiment with that a little bit. Last class, I moved the thing up and down and did a few things like that. But let me, in this one, let's just get to work on the main program. I want to put the objects in. And I'm going to make a change in this. I don't like the situation. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to get rid of that divide by 2. And then I don't have to center it anyway. It looks like the screen will handle it pretty, I mean the frame that I have around it does it pretty good. So I'll get rid of that body style thing. Don't need that. You don't want to put any more code into something than necessary because everything you write takes time. The machine is working to do something. So the minimum code you use, the better off you are. So in this case, we don't have to do anything. Okay, so at this point, the second thing I want to do is I want to bring in another plane. I want to bring in a wall in for the to the left side and a wall for the right side. So to get the left side in, first of all, while I'm down here, I might as well do it. I just copy this thing right here, which is the back, and copy that. Whoops, not like that, I don't. Copy that. Then return and hit this. So it's exactly the same now. I don't want that. I want it to be called left. I'm going to give it the name left this time. This is a different wall. And it's still make plane, still 400, 400. Only this one here has got a different name to it.
Left.
It's called Blue Left. Is that what it is? Blue Left, you're right. Blue Left. How'd you know that? You looked it up somewhere. Blue Left, okay, save, there we go. Now all I gotta do is, up above, I have to create 6 of these guys for left. So I'm just copying them all, going down. So I gotta change these all to left. So now I'm creating the left side now. See, all I'm doing here is I could type all these, but this is a little bit of cheating that actually makes it a lot faster, I'll tell you the truth. Because you end up typing the same things over and over again. And so the ideal is to just copy as much as you can. And if I wasn't so klutzy standing up here like this, I would probably be doing other things too, but I'm taking it as easy as possible. The easy way out. Okay. So now you have 2 planes in there. They're both there. But watch what happens. They're in the same position. They're both in the 0 position. They haven't changed. So when you run the program, you can only see one of them. The other one's there, but it's in the same spot. But the last one you showed was that one, so that's the one that shows. It covers up the previous one. So now the question is, we get these 2 planes. We want to move this one over to here, like this, so that it's looking this way. So there's 2 things we have to do. 3 things, actually. The first thing we have to do is we have to move the thing over to this point here, and then we have to move it over to this point here, then we have to turn it. So we're going to do 2 things. We got to move it in the negative x direction.
The index.
We're going to move it in the positive z direction, and then we have to turn it. Okay. So you got those 3 steps we have to do. So we go to the instruction for the left wall we're going to deal with now. That's the one we're dealing with. So we say, okay, here's the left wall right here. So the first thing you have to do, now the length of it is 400, right? 400. So if I want to bring it out, I have to bring it out to the middle of it over here. And then I'm going to bring it over to here. They're going to spin it because it spins on its middle, no matter what. It spins on the middle. But think about it. Here's what's going to happen. I got two of them on the back wall. And the front one, I have to say, okay, take the front one and move it over to here, move it forward, and spin it. And then it's in the position you want. Okay. So that's what you have to do. Move it twice and spin. So what I do is I move in the X direction. I have to move negative because it's going to the left. So I take that left plane and I say, okay, I want to go negative 200. Does that make sense to you, that negative 200? Okay, now you want to come forward that same distance. In this positive Z direction, you want to come 200. So it'll be in the right place. So you put 200 here. And finally, you want to rotate around the Y-axis. Now, I'm going to write this down. And this is what you'll be writing for 90 degrees all the time. It always looks like this. It's math dot capital P, capital I, divided by 2. That right there is a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's a 90-degree angle. Basically, don't forget, if 2 pi is the whole circle, pi is a half a circle, and pi over 2 is 90 degrees, a quarter of a circle. And so you have to say the word math, though, because that's how JavaScript knows that you're using the PI is actually 3.141, blah, blah, okay? So there it is. So I've done it. Hopefully this will work. Let's see what happens. Your machines will work a lot faster than this one, believe me. Now there it is. It actually worked. Let's take a trip around it to see what it looks like. So if I go this way, you can see that it's 90 degrees to the thing. Okay? It looks kind of weird. And by the way, the reason why it looks distorted like that is because you're so close to it, the perspective, it has these machines create perspective for you. That's part of the way you can see the sides of the left. See how they go like that? They get perspective lines. That's because it's calculating the depth all the way through, does these calculations for you. That is actually one of the wonderful things about graphics. They work out to make things look three-dimensional. They work out all that stuff in the background. So there it is. So we get the left wall. Next question is, let's put the right wall on. Now you guys can probably help me with this. Let's use it's a green wall. It's called green right. That's the name of the wall. So I'm going to add it over here. I'm going to say, now, I could copy this bunch of stuff right here, and I could use that. In other words, I could take left and change it to right. Problem is, it's already got a lot of crap over here. See, I don't want that stuff. So I'm going to take the original one, copy that, the original 6, and I'm going to bring them down, and they're going to become the right wall. Now all I have to do is change back to right. I'm going to call it right. Let's see if I can do it. If I can do this right. If I screw this up, let me know if I'm focusing on the mouse, which is very hard to handle here. On the edge. So far so good. So now we have that positioning thing ready to go. If I were going to position this now, you tell me, what could I do? I have to take this thing, I have to move it over here, and I have to turn it this way. What do you want to do? Tell me what to do with X. What do I do with X?
Right 200.
Right 200, which just puts 200 there, right? It's not negative, it's positive 200 because it goes out, right? You're right, goes out. Wait a minute. It goes positive 200, right? How about Z?
200
Again, it's just like the other wall. They both have to come out the same distance and turn. 200 again. Now this is where the tricky one comes. I have to rotate around the Y-axis, but how much do I rotate? And which way do I rotate? Just for fun, let's rotate the same way we did the previous one. I'll rotate it exactly the same. The other one was 200, no, math pi over 2. Let's do the same thing. So in other words, what I'm saying is this wall rotated and this wall is rotating the same amount, but in the same direction too. Let's see what happens. The consequences are probably already obvious to you. Next thing I want to do is get the new, this thing in here. See, if you do this and you run your programs like this, one piece at a time, you'll be much safer because you catch your mistakes when the programs are small and you can fix stuff. This one's called green right, I believe. I think that does it. See what happens. Uh-oh. See the problem? The problem, we rotated in the same direction and went backwards. So what you have to do is, you have to make sure it rotates the other way. So in other words, instead of rotating this way, it has to rotate that away. It has to rotate the other way. So what you do is, up in the rotation area for this right-hand thing right here, you have to put a minus in front of it. So it rotates the other way. Instead of one way, it rotates the other way. Say save, try it again. Voila. Take a trip around it. There it is. The outside, of course, is going to be backwards because we're not in the position where we're looking at the thing. Okay, there it is. Now, next question is, let's put a roof on it. The roof turns out to be yellow. So let me just add that roof right here, down the bottom here. And I called it a roof. So this will be right here. Say copy. It's called roof. I avoided the word top because top has connotations with the top of the HTML stuff. It won't get you in trouble in this program, but in some programs, if you start using the same words as, like I use left here, for example, big, that could cause a lot of trouble in some programs. But I chose to use roof to avoid using the word top, and I use left, so I blended it anyway. Basically, it doesn't hurt anything in this program, but sometimes you have to be careful for using the words left and top. Anything that's used in HTML, you don't want to use those same words because it might get confused in the program, whatever you happen to be doing. You want to get into a situation where you have to deal with something like that. Okay, next question is I want to get these 6 guys and I want to give them positions. So this is called roof, right? There it is. And now the roof is tricky. I gotta get it on top up here. So what would you think? Where would you move it first? Do you think? Well, you got it back here now. You got to get it up over here. So what would you do for? Take a guess. How would you move it in the X direction? Any at all? No X direction, right? It doesn't go in here. But which way does it go? Has to go Y. How much? 200. Same thing. Goes up 200. Goes forward, rotates like that, and it's in position. So you just have to kind of have a three-dimensional view of the thing. So I go in the Y direction, 200, and that's a positive 200, it's upward. And then I have to go in the Z direction, just like the last ones. I have to go in the Z direction, same distance, 200, half the size of the object. Now, the question is, which one do I rotate, and which way do I rotate? Which axis would you rotate over, do you think? From its position, its perspective. It's on the back over here. This came up and just went forward. Now what does it have to do? It has to rotate over which axis? X, over the X-axis, right? Because that's the one that's this way, so you tip over that one. Okay, so you tip over the X-axis, and again, 90 degrees right here. Let's see how it works. Try it out. Whoops. I didn't change the name of it. Screwed up, didn't I? Okay, but this is the kind of stuff. This is what happens. I mean, you just, we're not perfect. So you got to go back here now. It means that the name of the image I used right here, green right, is wrong. It should be yellow roof. Right, yellow roof. That should do it. There you go. And it's right, it's facing the right way, because what happens is when the roof went out to the Z direction and takes a bow, remember, on the x-axis, if you take a bow, you're going positive. If you tip over backwards, you're rotating negatively, rotating forward this way. They have a thing called the right-hand rule. I'm not going to get into that right now, but basically, the axis is x, y, z. If you grab any positive axis, whichever one it is, and you hold your finger like that, it'll tell you which way is positive. It's kind of an odd thing. I'd have to get a three-dimensional thing to show you that, but basically, I have one online. In fact, I'll just bring that up. I'll show it to you tonight. I'll put it online tonight. But there it is. That's the whole thing. So now what we need now is the floor, the last final thing. I just want to do that to be sure that you guys have enough experience moving these things so you can move stuff around. Okay, just get some practice. Let me just take a look in here for a second. I gotta find. Okay, let's have it. And box color, brown, here it is. I made the floor brown, so that takes care of that. Okay. So now, I want to add the floor. It's the last thing that I have to add. Let's just do that. First of all, I want to take these 6 guys, copy them again. Is this all kind of making sense? Is it all kind of okay? Makes sense to you? Because it gets a little deeper, but at this point, just to get the basic idea of what we're trying to do out of the way. And this one's called the floor. Okay. Down here, I'm going to do the last one. And I believe it's called brown floor, if I'm not mistaken. Oops. Floor. Oops. Floor. Oh, no. Brown floor.
Momentary heart attack.
What?
Oh, I just said momentary heart attack with the error.
Okay, next question is, what do we do? Give me some ideas. Somebody new, give me an idea what to do with this thing.
So
I want to put the, what?
So, copy all the same things and then change the.
Well, where's X go?
X is going to be 1.
It doesn't go nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
I don't know.
X doesn't, it just stays in the middle. Yeah, now you're still flipping over the front here.
Or is it the Z? I forget which. It's
So
gonna be
which-
1.
Which direction, what do you guys, someone give me one. You got this rectangle facing you, and you have to get it on the floor. So you have to do the same thing you did in the ceiling, only you got to do it down
I
below.
thought you meant front. My bad.
No?
So it has to.
No guesses?
-200 for the Y.
Negative 200 for Y. X doesn't go anywhere. See, it has to go down. It has to go down 200. And then what does it do? The same thing as all the other guys did. It has to go out 200 forward. It has to go out 200, so it goes down and goes forward. Then it has to flip. Which way it flips, we'll figure that out. Let's try it positively and see what happens. It flips over the x-axis just like the others, just like the roof did. So you say math dot pi divided by 2. See what happens.
Used to be like the opposite then.
Yep. Screwed up, didn't it? So it has to rotate negatively. It has to rotate the other way. Instead of trying to memorize the rules for that, the thing to do is run the program, look at it, and say, oh, backwards. Just put it any other way, that's all. So basically, we go down to the rotation. We make it negative right here. Just put a minus sign in front of it. It says rotate the other way. Now it should be fine. I got one more to put up, one more face to put up. Oh. Fast too. There it is. So far, if I just go around the thing, you'll see that you basically have a box. But we don't have any front on the box yet. Let's put the front on it. Putting the front on is pretty easy. You create the rectangle, you just simply slide it all the way forward 400, and there it is. Except one fact, it's backwards. See, it'll be facing, you'll be able to read it out here, but the way we have it now is, if you're inside this box, every wall is read forward. If you look at the white wall at the end, you're going to see the word backwards. You'll see. I don't think I put a word on it, but let's try it anyway. In fact, I avoided the problem, but let's put the front wall on, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so the front wall is called white front. That's what it's called. So I may as well do that right here. And I call it the front. Now there's some new thing in here that you should pay attention to. This is a ping file. And the way it was made was, very simply, I went into Mac Paint, made a square, made a circle, and made that the wall. But then I went into XView, and I made the circle out of blue, and I said, make this blue transparent, and it did. So now what you have is a square with a transparent hole in the middle. And it's a ping file. You say save it as a ping. You got to be careful of that. So it's called white front, I believe. And it's a ping file. So it's white front.png. And again, I have to make a thing for the whole deal here. So you see how big it's getting? It looks like a lot, but it's the same thing over and over again. And if you do it piece by piece, any of your programs, you'll see that, by the way, we won't have to be doing this pretty soon. I have a program that automatically builds all the walls for you. But then you've got to build all the other stuff inside. So this is just, it's a cheap way out. Okay, so this is called the front. No. You guys don't see this, but this mouse is on the edge of this little teeny little area I have to work with. I'm trying to keep it desperately on the edge so it doesn't fall over, stop working. Oop. The back part right there. Get rid of that. Last one. Testing your patience. Okay, here we go. That should do it. Except I have to now move it forward. So I move it in the Z direction. How far do I move in the Z direction, do you think?
400.
Yep. Wait a minute, it says not responding, I wonder why. Okay, hang on. What the hell's it doing here? My computer froze up. There we go.
Not responding.
Oh, that's not good.
Just sit here and click it a bunch of
In
times.
process, I'll restart it. I'll start it again. Oh, what's not responding? Okay, that's okay. Let's go back again. Oh, it's running. Sorry about that. I want to list it. I don't want to run it. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so I was down here, and I asked the question, what should I do? I just want to get that white up on the front. How do I get it there? One move will do it. It's on the back wall.
The z-index
How far?
+1.
What?
Is it +1 then? To move it forward 1? No, plus like the 200 or whatever.
400 this time.
Oh, okay.
The whole, you got to go the whole thing. So Z, you got to go to Z4.
I'm used to the z-index from like the earlier on when we were using it. It's just 1.
Say, here we go. Better forget that. It's getting out of here. Okay. This program is finita.
Es muy bonita. Es muy loco.
There it is. Back up.
Aha.
You can see how it works. Right inside. There we go. You can see the basic idea of how it works, how these things work, okay? And that's the first thing. There's one other thing I want to show you. The webcams. There are two objects you can put a webcam on. You can't put webcams on most of the objects, but you can put them on a plane. Know what you can call the webcam. There's commands for that, and there's a command for calling the webcam onto a sphere. And both of those are available, but you can't put it on cylinders. You can't put it on anything else. I didn't feel like writing it because webcam things you can't really use very much anyway. I just wanted to have a demonstration for you. So let me just do this this one short cylinder program here, and actually I don't even have to write it. I can show you one of the ones I have already. Let me just run the program for you. Right here. There I am. So you can see, you can put, this is just on a plane. There's a plane and I'm on that plane. So you could actually put your webcam, online is, this program's online too, so you can actually try it yourself. And let me put myself into a sphere here, see what happens. Spheres are funny because they're only useful for some things. You got to be really careful because the left hand and the right hand side of the picture have to match up exactly, or you got a line there. And that 99% of the stuff you shoot is going to have a line there. There it is. And you can't see it, but let me move in. I'm going to go into the sphere. I think I'm going to go into the sphere. There I am.
Hi.
And you can rotate around in there. This is a very great webcam. I don't know why I'm so bright. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, that's it. So you can actually create that. Let me show you the program behind it. This is a good point while I'm doing this. If I wanted to show you the program, if I just right click, I'm trying to get it to go show me the listing. If you go over here to the scroll bar, and then you'll be able to hit view page source. I'm going to show you the basics of it. There isn't a lot to show you, but basically it's this. When you let me bring it up a little bit. When you're making, right here is a video. What happens is there's different commands for making videos on spheres than there are making just pictures. So this one here is called webcam sphere. It's a function, special function. And you have to put in the radius of the sphere, 3232, and then 320 or 240. You have to put 4 to 3, whatever it is. Any 4 to 3 values in there, it'll work. Basically then, up here you have to say, whatever you call it, .wball. WBall means this is a webcam picture, okay? And then down here is the part you gotta really be careful of this. In the previous one, we just simply changed frames. This one here says get webcam frame. It doesn't simply say get a frame, you gotta get a webcam frame. So you have to ask that specific question. And again, you put the name of your object right in there, and that does it for you. So that actually is online, and there's not much different there between what we've been doing. It's just that these functions that make a sphere with a picture on it are different than the function that makes a sphere with a movie on it. So you got to be careful between those two. One of them contains the W, and by the way, I have others here. Let me just give you another one while I'm doing this. Did that wrong. Hang on. Don't forget, to run these things, you've got to drag it to the Google Chrome because it's using functions that are outside of the computer, so it has to be dragged to the Google Chrome icon to run. You can't just click on them, they won't run. All the ones we have now, the new ones. And there it is. It's like there's a plane with a video on it. I think, did we do that last time? Did we put videos on planes, or we just put pictures? We put videos on them? Okay, so that takes care of that. I didn't know we did. Didn't remember. Okay. That's pretty much it. If you guys want to